Many, many years ago, before the beginning of time, the gods decided to send two of their beloved children to Earth to explore and see if this was to be a place they could send others to learn more about life. And so they sent a brother and sister, Megalope and Ephemera, who came as small children. And they played happily together until Mother Earth presented them with a huge challenge, as this is how human beings learn about life, by meeting and facing obstacles and overcoming them. So the tragedy happened in the form of a great earthquake
that divided the north from the south. A great crack opened up in the middle of the world. Megalope and Ephemera were separated. Megalope to the north, where it was cold and barren, and Ephemera to the south, where it was warm and flourishing. As the brother and sister grew older,
they began to forget their childhood as they wandered the northern and southern worlds that they were trapped in. The crack in the middle of the world was too big for them to jump across, and over time they did not even visit the crack or wonder about what or who might be on the other side. Megalope became cold and bitter as the wind
from the north. His heart became barren like the land around him, and he became like the raging north winds, stormy and loud and thundering. He had no peace in his heart, only anger at being left alone. And in the meantime, on the south side of the great crack in the earth,
Ephemera, warmed by the winds from the sunny south, grew into a beautiful maiden with a great love of nature, which grew green and tall all around her. She too was lonely and had faint memories of playing as a child with sunlight, and had a wish
that she could better remember these happier times. One day, she awakened from a dream, where, in the dream, she found a magical wand, the silver wand of well wishes.
So powerful and real was the dream
that she believed it must be so, and she sent off in search of it. And so she traveled north on her quest. After walking many miles, she came to the great crack in the earth
and found she could walk no further, although she did see tiny footprints that appeared in the earth right up to the edge of the great crack. And when she looked across to the other side, she noticed that in the snow, the footprints continued.
What a mystery. Surely any creature that made such tiny footprints must also be tiny. How could it jump across when she was so big and tall
and could not jump, for fear of falling into the bottomless crack in the earth? And so she turned to the east and started walking many, many miles, where, amazingly, she heard voices
laughing in the distance. These were the first voices she had heard for many years that were not the sound of her own voice singing. She came closer, and all of a sudden walked into a meadow where two fairies were running and laughing. She went closer and listened to them call each other names, Daffodil and Violet.
Coming closer, Ephemera coughed to get their attention. At first they were afraid of her great size, but then they became friends, and Ephemera told them of her quest for the silver wand of well wishes. They put their hands together but could not think of anything to help.
But then they remembered their cousins, Carolina and Lily, to the west. And they suggested to Ephemera that she go look for the west wind fairies who might help her. And so she went west with her new friends, the east wind fairies, and sure enough, came over a hill to hear once again the
laughter of fairies. This time she sent Daffodil and Violet ahead of her, so that her giant size would not frighten them.
Then Ephemera joined them, and together they discussed the challenge of finding the silver wand of well-wishes. Ephemera told them
of
the tiny footprints
she had seen in the sand, and the snow on the other side of the great crack in the earth. All of a sudden, the four fairy cousins burst out laughing.
Oh,
you mean Floppy? Seeing Ephemera's confused look, they explained that Floppy was a magic hare who held the fractured earth together by jumping back and forth every week. Perhaps, they suggested, Floppy, as a magic hare, might know something about a magic silver wand of well wishes. And so they all set off together to find Floppy.
And sure enough, they came to the sandy bank by the great crack. And there was Floppy,
lying on his back, taking
lying
a
on
rest.
his back in the sunshine.
When Ephemera told him of her dream of the wand of well wishes, Floppy shrugged his shoulders and said he didn't know about that. Then he said it was time for him to hop across the great crack to keep the world together, and paused. He asked an important question.
He said, "Did you say it was a silver wand?" Excitedly, Ephemera said, "Yes, it's silver." Then Floppy started to laugh and laugh, so much that all the fairies joined in. Then he explained that every time he jumped over the great crack to get to the other side, he would see something sparkling far below on a ledge. Maybe, just maybe,
that
was the hiding place
of the silver
of
wand
the silver
of well
wand
wishes.
of well wishes.
In moments, they were all standing at the great crack, peering down. Yes, there it was. Ephemera, on account of her great size, could reach it if she stretched way out, with the four fairies holding
her feet on either side of the great crack. A strong wind blew in, bringing with it a great giant megalopede. Shouted
and made loud noises to drive them away. Looking at him now, holding the silver wand of well wishes, Ephemera made the wish to make the world well, to close the crack that separated the north from the south, so that the east and west winds could blow all over the earth and bring the warm winds of the south into the north to warm the hearts of all beings, including Megalope. And so it was. Gradually,
Megalope felt the warmth, and it melted his icy heart, and he remembered happier days. And all of a sudden, at the same time as Ephemera,
remembered their childhood as brother and sister.
and they rejoiced with their new friends, the fairy cousins of the east and the west.
and a very,
Very, very happy
tale.
hair.
The end.